to know a little bit more about the pets.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so sorry. So for those that have just joined us from Facebook, sorry for the delay on that. I thought it was working fine, but it didn't. I'm almost an expert on Zoom and this whole equation. But without further ado, guys, this is the green room. This is the space where we cover topics on immigration. You know, we want people not just, like we always say, we don't want to just see you all from the airport. We want you to have a successful immigration. Guys, we don't want you to just cover one aspect of immigration, which is the hardest thing normally is just, you know, once you get to the understanding or the, yes, I'm going to immigrate. You know, that sometimes people think is the hardest part of immigration is just deciding to immigrate. But there are so many other aspects to immigration. And this is what we do in the green room. You know, so the green room is a space where we sit and we discuss every little topic in detail as much as we can. So today we have got a wonderful topic. I mean, we've been asked about this from everybody in our program and from other people as well. Is it how do I immigrate with my pets? And obviously there's a lot of questions you guys can have on the back of this. Please put your questions on the chat there. We will try and get to everything. But today we have got a wonderful lady called Colleen Clackworthy on the program. She's from Pets Travel, you know, so we are part of all the Facebook groups and stuff, and she came highly recommended for this type of topic. So we are very happy to have her on our webinar today. So guys, I'm going to give Colleen 2 minutes just to tell us more about yourself and tell us more about your company.
Well, hi everybody. Thank you, Lenny, for the introduction. As Lenny said, my name is Colleen and I represent a company called Pets Travel. We have been in the industry for over 20 years. We operate in Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, and we do have agents in Port Elizabeth. So we can generally help people all over South Africa. So what we do is, you know, we start as an advisory panel in essence, and we try and answer as many questions that you may have in the beginning of your process. And at the end of the day, it's equipping yourself with enough information to make a decision as to whether you actually want to take your pet overseas with you and to feel comfortable with an agent that can help you. Because like anything major in life, it's not a good idea to try and attempt something like this for the first time on your own. It is very wise to have an agent, people that have been doing it for a long time. And it's not just about us, it's also about our contacts overseas in America. Because you need to understand it's not only the export component of the pet, it also is also the import component when you land in the USA. And different states also have different rules, funny enough. So you think you're going to the USA, but you need to also equip yourself that there might be other components that you're not aware of. So you really want to be, you know, linked to somebody offshore as well that can help with the import, with the customs import, etc., etc. So yeah, we handle both, and again we allow you to choose whether you want us just to link you with an appropriate person for the import, or whether you would like us to do both the export and the import. So there are two sides to this process.
Fantastic, Colleen. It's so nice to have you with us today. I want to ask you something. I know that you've been in the business for so many years. What inspired you to start this business? I mean, why are you in Pets Travel?
Well, I guess my passion for animals, I've always been involved with animals. My husband was a sheep farmer, well, is still a sheep farmer, I guess. And in those days, we couldn't send semen over. We actually had to send live sheep over for stud. So I helped my husband with the sheep, and eventually I had people saying, well, I have a kitten, or I have a dog, or can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I can do this. So yeah, that was 30 years ago, where I'd help people. And eventually my husband said to me, this is crazy. Why don't you turn this into a business? So my humble little passions on the farm turned into quite a it's quite a big business now. It's just grown underneath me, and it's gone from, 1 or 2 cats out of Worcester to hundreds of animals out of South Africa. So yeah, I'm very proud of Pets Travel, where we've come. My partners and my staff are all very loyal and have been with me for a very, very long time. And I think that's just testament to, to the passion that we all have. Yeah.
Excellent. Wonderful. Yeah. Colleen, I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, it's nice to, one thing that we also, you try and look for in our applicants and people that we want to partner with is the passion they have for their industry. When I had a chat to you beforehand, I mean, that's one thing that really surfaced from you, is that the passion that you have in what you do. And I mean, it's really, really amazing. I mean, if I can kick off with one question, I mean, what's the first thing to consider, if someone wants to immigrate with his pets?
Well, obviously you need to know where you're going, because every country has different rules. And once you've established where you're going, you need to then assess the requirements of that country. So let's talk USA. The very first thing you need to do is look at the health of your pet. You need to establish the relationship of your pet within the country that you're going to. And once you've established that you really want to take your pet with you, you need to start with your microchip. That's the very first thing you need to do. If your pet is not microchipped, anything that has gone down with the histology of that pet prior to microchipping is null and void. So it's like us trying to get to America without a green card. It's not possible. You have to have a microchip. So every single thing is linked to your microchip. So before you even consult with an agent or anybody, make sure your pet is microchipped, because thereafter, anything that you do to your pet is recorded, and you're going to need all of that histology for you to actually travel with your pet, whether it be USA or anywhere. So your microchip is your first port of call.
Excellent. And tell me something, Colleen, would that be for any pets? I mean, not just for dog. That are we talking about cats? I mean, how far does the microchipping extend to?
All right. So basically, we do only work with domesticated pets like cats and dogs. We do offer to do services for birds, but historically we found, especially over the last 3 years with avian flu, etc., it's become exceedingly difficult to, unfortunately, move parrots and the likes overseas, not just to America, to all places, Europe and China. None of them want birds out of Africa because of the associated problems. So it becomes increasingly difficult. You need all sorts of poop samples, and you need to make sure that the bird has a ring and it's tracked right back for the date of purchase. And very often people don't have that. So it is a difficult process, and it's very, very expensive to ship a bird because of the associated veterinary requirements for a bird. So mostly we do cats and dogs. And luckily for America, cats and dogs are extremely, extremely easy. To get a cat or dog to Canada or America is the simplest places you could. So for those of us going to America, lucky you, it's easy. We can do it in a month.
That's excellent news.
Yeah.
And in terms of breed or health, age of the dog, is that something that one must consider?
Absolutely. Breed. There are lots of embargoes on certain breeds. Now, it's very sad if you own one of these breeds that are banned breeds in America. So I think you need to avail yourself of that list. You need to go onto a website and get the banned breed list for America, so that you don't disappoint yourself and realize that actually your breed is on that list. And very often, even if your breed has some element of the banned breed in if it's a mixed breed, unfortunately, if it looks like the banned breed, it's banned, regardless of if you put down on the breed, it's a cross border collie or it's a cross ridgeback, and it happens to have a pit bull face. Sure. Even if you get a DNA test to say it's not a pit bull, if it looks like a pit bull, it can't go. So you do need to establish the banned list. That's the first thing you need to do. And I think with age, again, it's a very personal thing. I mean, I know people who I had a client move to the Bahamas recently, and she had I was so grateful for that cat, because that cat gets to have another 3 years, but it's a personal thing. It is expensive. It's an expensive process, and you as a family need to establish if you can afford it and what the role that pet plays in your life. You know, I think socially and emotionally, I think if you do leave a pet behind in a family structure, you need to establish the impact on your family, and that's a very real thing.
So Colleen, I mean, just on that back, when you now mentioned the expensive bit of immigrating with pets, I mean, where does expensive come in with different animals? So do they go according to weight? Do they go according to breed, or what is how do you differentiate what is expensive for pets or not?
Okay, so the start of the expense comes with the veterinary cost. You need to have a veterinary health certificate, which is done by your vet, and this can only be done after the fact that your pet has been microchipped and that you have got the necessary vaccination, which is the normal 5-in-1 and the rabies. That is normally, depending on which vet you use, between 1,000 and 2,000 Rand. Your microchipping process can be up to 2,000 Rand. And then your veterinary health certificate, which is a certificate that we as your agent would pre-complete for you and give that to you to take to your vet to get signed by the vet. And that is the only thing you need for America. So that's your veterinary component. Then the second component is the travel crate that your pet travels in. So that has to be an IATA approved, a specially approved box to travel on an airline. And they have become very tricky and sticky about that. So very often people say, oh, but we have a box, you know, we'll save money, we use the box. We need to check that box for you. So you don't land up at the airport and you get turned away because your box is not compliant. So there's the cost of the box. And that depends on obviously the size of your cat, from a tiny little Yorkshire Terrier up to a wolfhound. So the smaller the box, the less the expense. The bigger the dog, the bigger the box, the greater the expense. And that applies to freight as well. So when people say to me, oh, but my Yorkshire Terrier weighs 500 grams, it's not the grammage of your dog. It's actually the volumetric weight that your pet takes up in the box. That is what you're paying for. So for instance, a cat's volumetric weight is about 32 kilograms, and that's what you're paying for. And most of the airlines work in dollars. So you've got to work out the weight of the pet times by the dollar rate of the airline, and that is your freight cost. But it doesn't end there. We also have to then put into the cost of that your fuel and securities, your airway bills, the administration involved, and also the handling fee. So when a pet goes on an airline, they charge you quite a significant handling fee, because it's not just getting your pet in the box onto the plane. On the other side, it's got to be checked by a state vet of that country. And that state vet costs money to go out there, check all the pets, check that all the paperwork's in order, and then the process of import starts. So the export component is the cost of the veterinary, the box, the freight, all the added things that go with freight, and then it stops there. And then the import component takes over, whereby you've got to pay custom fees and you have got to pay for the pet to be signed off. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Colleen, I mean, now obviously people would like to know, even me, I mean, I would like to know as well. So what's the pros and cons of going with an agent? You know, so obviously if you have the time and you have the patience, you can do these things yourself, but you will obviously make mistakes going along the way. I mean, what will make it easier to go with the agent, or what is the upside?
Well, I think there's a lot of information out there on Facebook, and of course there's different forums of immigrating forums that you can find information out. And it is good to have objective information, but I think it's very important to go with an agent that's been recommended, you know, in the public eye, and get confident with a person at that agency that you feel free to ask questions. That's going to save you a lot of time, because if you're checking out different websites for the different immigration rules and all sorts of rules, you're going to get yourself very, very muddled. So I think what an agent does is an agent makes it simple for you. They break it down into sizable chunks whereby you can actually manage the information, and it becomes something in your head that is workable. You're no longer confused and in two minds. You realize, this is what I've got to do, this is how much it's going to cost, and this is what I have to do, and this is what my agent's going to do. So I think an agent gives you huge confidence with the process. They take your hand and they give you a paint by numbers route to take, and they also equip you with confidence that nothing's going to go wrong. You're not going to make a mistake. If you make a mistake in your paperwork and gets thrown out, the risks are that your pets go into quarantine at a huge cost to yourself because they're non-compliant, and there's nothing you can do about that. So best get your ducks in a row in South Africa before you go. Make sure your paperwork is right. And very often you might not know that your paperwork is wrong, and you very innocently go into a country and horror, realize that you have made a mistake. You don't have all your ducks in a row. You're missing something, and through no fault of your own, other than just naivety in the process, you come unstuck. And that is awful. And it happens to people, and we get the phone call, please, please, please. We help them to get compliant, but unfortunately, the cost of quarantine in the interim is a very, very unnecessary expense for any person that's immigrating.
Colleen, one of the questions that is frequently asked is, you know, and obviously I know that to each country there's a different element and that sort of stuff. People are concerned about the trauma that the dog or the cat might go through, and obviously, I mean, you can talk us through a little bit of that and what to do. For the States, but in particular, is there a waiting period or a quarantine period for the dogs before or on import?
Okay, so let's look at the aspect of the trauma to the pet. I think that most people who take their pets over absolutely adore their pets, their family members, and we're talking about very well-adjusted, very loved dogs. Yes. And again, a well-adjusted, confident dog reacts positively. Yes, it's scary, there are funny smells, the noises are a bit different, but it's more an inquisitive response rather than a fear response. We do encourage people that have got very nervous breeds, like a tiny little Jack Russell or Staffy that doesn't like loud bangs or whatever, to take calming medicines before. And there are lots of generic and natural products on the market nowadays that we're seeing are having enormous positive results. So that is one thing the owner can do quite a long time before travel to help their pet. The second thing is to let your pet travel with something that smells of you. So you put something in that crate, and that helps a lot. And the third thing is to crate train. So you get your agent to deliver the box ahead of time, and you make that crate a happy place. You feed them nibbles or biltong bits or carrots or whatever they love. So that box is not a scary thing. It lives in your lounge, and you crawl in there and you play with them or whatever. So on the day that they move, you know, going to the box is not a scary place. They've got something that's familiar there with them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very good.
Colleen, I've got a question.
Sorry, what was the second question you asked?
No, I think that you covered all of those there. You did. The one was about the waiting period and the quarantine time in America.
Okay. All right. So there's no quarantine in America at all. And the only waiting time is that your pet has to have the 5-in-1 vaccination in South Africa and rabies, and it must be older than 31 days. Okay. That's it.
Very interesting. So I've got a question for you that probably my daughter would pose to you. I've got a little Pekingese, those flat-nosed, beautiful little dogs that everyone says their eyes pop out when they get scared.
You can't say beautiful and those dogs in the same sentence.
Are the Pekingese, you know, are there certain animals? Let's put it to that way. Are there certain animals that stress more, like you mentioned just now, like the Staffy and that sort of stuff? I mean, are there certain dogs that you know of that are sort of more prone to these stresses? I know we've got a family on here that have got, I think, 5 or 6 Yorkies that need to go to America.
Okay. So yes, there are certain breeds that a lot of the airlines won't travel with, but there are other airlines that will take them. Like, for instance, your snub-nosed breeds, like your Pekingese, your Shih Tzu, your little bulldogs, your French bulldogs, because they've got a shortened trachea. So when they stress, that trachea tends to collapse and they battle to breathe. And it's a combination of anxiety and lack of breath that sometimes can cause you know, heart failure or for them to have a blackout through lack of oxygen. So what the airlines do is they've got like an aspect of risk. And if they've had too many of a particular breed passing out on them or not making it, they tend to say, look, that is a high risk breed and we're not prepared to take it. So you will find some airlines that won't take certain breeds, but we can always find an airline that will take that breed, for instance. So we know in the industry who can help us and who can't help us. And very often they'll have an embargo on a breed, and within 3 months we find out that another airline can actually help us. So we shop around, and that's another aspect of our skill that we help you with, because very often people don't realize you do not have to fly on the same airline with your pet. Your airline can go another routing, and you have to trust us that we are going to make that routing as safe and as most direct for your pet. So you as the customer can shop around for the cheapest flight available to get yourself to America, but let us shop around for the most direct and the safest. And also, if the pet is staying over, and very often they do lay over because of the length of the flights to America, let us advise you of the better airlines to fly with. I mean, KLM, they stop over in Amsterdam, and the people in Amsterdam are absolutely amazing. They're passionate about animals. A lot of them are veterinary students. So your dog is getting top care.
Oh dear.
And they get to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a question there about how early before travel we should contact the agent. Well, I think, you know, the earlier the better, because you need to establish a relationship with your agent. Very often I like to work with people and for me that's first prize, because we develop a relationship. I know whose pets I'm moving, and it becomes a personal thing for me as your agent, as well as the customer. So we only need a month and a bit to prep you for travel. It's nice to get your crate to you early, and it's nice for you to ask me 1,000 questions so that you're ready for this and you know what to expect.
Good.
Fantastic. So, Colleen, I see that we also had a couple of people on the attendees list, and some things from Canada, which is interesting. People going to Canada, but it's pretty much the same in Canada and America. No, that's great.
Canada is the same as America. Yeah, very simple.
Okay. One thing I wanted to ask you, Colleen, is, I mean, if the guys get hold of you as an agent, I'm just trying to, see what an agent covers. Are you guys like a one-stop shop to do the whole toot?
Yeah, we are. So we will do everything for you. We'll provide your crate. We will book your flights for your pets. So we'll book with the cargo, supply for you on the day of for you. We take it to the airport, we check it in, and then we equip you with all the information, the airway bills and the shipping documents, etc., to be able to clear customs on the other side. So we either give you your own custom documents and we equip you with the knowledge to do it yourself, which a lot of people opt for, or we put you in contact with an agent in America who then you liaise with once you land in America, who will do the import for you on your behalf. And you organize with them at what destination or whatever particular airport you're arriving at, how they're going to hand over the pet to you. So
okay,
yeah,
so
it's A to Z. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Yeah.
So Colleen, literally when your pet arrives at the airport, you go and collect the pets at the airport. I mean specifically for America now, it's the same day type of equation. Sorry,
are you talking about from the part of the destination? Yes. Where the pet is leaving from? Yeah. So I would go to the person's house in Cape Town. The crate would be ready for travel, and we would put the pet in the travel box, and I would take it to the airport and check it in, because the check-in process is also quite lengthy, and we know the ropes, and we know everybody there at Swissport, who are the handling agents for all the major airlines, and it's a lengthy, ugly process, and it has to happen at least 6 hours before the flight happens with manifest cargo. So we encourage our clients to trust us, not come to the airport, because it's actually quite stressful for owner and pet alike, to do that process. It's unpleasant. So yeah, we take that away from you. You say goodbye when we come to your home, and then you say hello again on the other side when your pet has cleared customs. Yeah.
Colleen, so one of the questions that we had over here, sorry, Len, we do seem to have a little bit of a lag in Wi-Fi. I don't know if it's just on Colleen's side or there's some of the breaks there. Colleen, one of the questions I'd like to ask you is this, that we've had an inquiry as to when is my animal too old to go? And I know that in discussion points and some of the things that we had, you have sort of said that it could be the owner's choice, right? Would you consult on that as well? In other words, if someone was in this program and they were concerned about the age of the dog and that sort of stuff, I mean, they could engage with you and run through a couple of these dynamics, and you could best advise them as to whether you feel that the dog is too old or the dog would make it, or the dog would be too stressful in certain things. I mean, is that part of what Pets Travel also does, or do you just, I mean, how would you handle a case like that? Let me ask you the question that way rather.
Yeah, well, I think most importantly, it's very important that your agent is honest with you. I have sometimes advised people, look, I don't think this is a very good idea for you to be taking your pet overseas. People that are just so passionate that they can't let go. Like, for instance, a dog that's got a chronic diabetes, or a dog that fits along the way. Sometimes I just have to make that call and say, look, I strongly suggest that you find your pet another home, which is a hell of a thing to say to a client. But sometimes it's the most honest thing. It's the fairest thing to say. But again, you know, if people have got old pets and they breeds that are strong and have longevity on their side, then why would you not? You know, why would you leave your old pet in its heydays, you know, with strange people? Or I've actually said to people, and this is a really harsh thing to say, but I would rather euthanize a very aged pet than leave it with strange people at the age of 12 or 13.
Yeah, that's tough, right?
I just think that is the kindest thing to do. A lot of veterinarians just suggest that.
Sure, that is tough choices to make, eh?
Yeah,
but
it is.
That is what we've got faced for our applicants and for the people immigrating. I mean, it's not easy, but you know, we need to cover these things and we need to talk about these. So, Colleen, I mean, it's been great. I mean, this conversation and the information that you've given us has been invaluable, and I think I think a lot of people, and especially on our program, you know, how would they get in contact with you? I mean, what is the easiest way? I mean, should we we'll put out your contact details on our Facebook as well, but what is the best way for people to get hold of you?
Well, they can email me at colleen@petstravel.coza.
Okay.
Or if they go to the Pets Travel website and they go to Cape Town, then my number does come up there on the website, and they're welcome to phone me. Very often I consult with my clients, you know, on the phone, and we establish a relationship and answer their questions. And when they get closer to the point of actually moving and they want me to do the move for them, then obviously we open up a file cover. I do have to take a deposit at that point so that we then exchange the box so we can crate train, and the relationship grows from there.
I think that's excellent, Colleen. We obviously also will send out an email with your contact details and that sort of stuff. And I'd like to ask the people that are part of the program, if they are part of Live Your Dream, that they let you know that it's from Live Your Dream, because then you can know that, you know, today was also value for your company. I think that what you brought to the table was fantastic, and it was nice to have met you. Thank you for giving us this time today.
Pleasure.
And giving us your input and your wealth of not just of knowledge, but experience. And we can see that you love what you do. So that's nice.
Yeah, I do.
Excellent. So guys, for our next topic on Thursday, we on the Green Room, we have a very special guest. He is the founder, and he is the creator of the Live Your Dream program. You know, I think it's very exciting. We're going to have the CEO of Visa Solutions on our program, and we are going to be covering various other topics as well. You know, you can hear my pet is quite excited of moving overseas. You know,
what have you got? What have you got?
I've got a little cross Jack Russell here. That is. Hold on 1 second. Yo, this is more excitement than I can handle. Yeah,
it's appropriate on the pets webinar.
Very,
so appropriate.
We don't mind. We don't mind.
This is what we do. You know, it's a relaxed atmosphere, and we talk about these things for this. I mean, and I've got my phone ringing. My first customer wanting to take his pets overseas. So, and let me just cover what else we're going to do for the next couple of topics. And like I said, Thursday we are having Jose Gomez for our next topic, covering various aspects of immigration, and just a nice call for us to, you know, chat to him. And then we are talking to Maria, hopefully again on Tuesday, covering the psychology of immigration with maybe a bit of an in-depth look at how we should be tackling immigration from a psychological aspect.
Sounds
Colleen, you'll be
interesting.
happy to know that when we had our first chat to Maria, she was talking very much about the psychological aspect of your pets and your pets going with you and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So the two webinars have certainly spoken to each other. So once again, thank you for your time, and thank you to everybody that joined us here today. It's been great to have you guys, and it's been nice to have Colleen with us. And from my side, we'll see you on Thursday.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Cheers
Bye.
all. Bye.